Welcome to the Community Learning Center at Cleveland State University. In this video, we will cover our center's mission and our physical facility, along with the materials and resources available to you as a tutor. Important procedures and policies you'll need to know for your experience will be discussed. Additionally, you'll receive information about the technology requirements to conduct tutoring, along with basic tips for your tutoring sessions. These will be best practices that may help ensure a successful experience for you and your tutee. Professionalism is important to us and to you, so we will cover standards of practice while you're working with children and their families. Finally, contact information will be provided so that you may reach out to the appropriate staff member with any questions or concerns. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to a mutually beneficial and engaged learning experience. Our mission at the Community Learning Center is to foster an educationally beneficial relationship among key stakeholders in our community, including our Cleveland area schools, teachers, students, their families, and of course you, a College of Education student here at Cleveland State University. Providing equitable and just educational opportunities to our K-12 learners is the foundation of our mission. Through in-person and remote tutoring experiences, we have been able to meet the educational needs of Cleveland area students and their families for over 25 years. This partnership with our families provides the opportunity for you, our College of Education students, to refine your teaching skills in a supervised environment. Under the guidance of our distinguished faculty, CSU student tutors complete fieldwork requirements and provide much-needed educational services to our community. Here at the CLC, we truly embody a partnership for engaged learning. Our physical space is located in Julka Hall on the campus of Cleveland State University at 2485 Euclid Avenue. In room 130, you will find a variety of materials and resources available to support the learning of your tutee. We have a number of academic assessments, instructional materials, leveled books, and educational games available for checkout. The materials loan agreement must be completed prior to accessing these materials. Resources available to you include computers, printing and copying, lamination, and a number of office supplies. K-12 learners are not permitted in the office supply space. Please see a staff member at the front desk to check out and access these materials and resources. Our center relies on the mutual relationship between our tutors and families. As the CSU tutor, your attendance and participation is crucial to the success of this arrangement. You may find the entire attendance and participation policy in the CSU student intake form on our website. We ask that each tutor limit absences to no more than 2 per semester and do your very best to avoid lateness when possible. When a tutor must be absent or late, please contact the center by phone or email to let us know. Please do not contact your tutee directly. To address the times a tutor or tutee must be late or absent, we encourage instructors to ensure that class partners are arranged such that in a tutor's absence, another CSU tutor will be responsible to deliver instruction to your tutee. Likewise, in the event of a tutee's absence, you may engage with your partner's tutee to ensure you meet your course and field requirements. Although not a perfect system, we have found success with this interdependent participation policy. Some procedures may differ slightly depending upon the nature of your experience. For in-person sessions, you must check in and check out with your initials on the sign-in sheet found at the front desk. From there, please take your tutee to your assigned tutoring location. We ask that you remain at your assigned location at all times. If for any reason you need to change location, see a staff member. While the tutee is under your supervision, you must accompany them throughout the building. Please wait outside the restroom and water fountains when the tutee is using them, and then escort them back to your assigned location. Additionally, we ask that you and the tutee do not have food or drinks during your sessions. Finally, when the session ends, make certain that you do not sign out until the tutee is back under the supervision of a parent or guardian or a CLC staff member. During remote sessions, you and your tutee will be participating using a video conferencing platform such as Zoom from your own device in your homes or other public facility. The check-in and check-out procedures will include instructor-specific guidelines. For open sessions, a sign-in and sign-out form must be initialed each time. It is the tutor's responsibility to ensure that you have completed this important task in order to document your hours. Instructors may not initial for you in the event you overlook this requirement, so please be sure to initial in and out each session. Cameras and audio. We understand some tutors and tutees feel shy on camera. However, in this remote environment, the visual aspect is crucial to engaged interactions. Please arrange your camera and space so that lighting and noise levels are conducive to a productive session. Plan to keep your camera on during all times. The only exception is during times you're observing another tutor's session and not interacting directly with the tutee. In those times, please keep your camera off and sound muted until you are directly engaging with the tutee. Please test your microphone and sound prior to your session. Instructors and staff members are not responsible for technological support and internet connectivity. Lack of camera and audio means you will not be able to count the sessions toward field hours, so please attend to this important technological requirement, such as camera, audio, and internet connection, prior to each session. Families have the option to consent or withhold consent for videotaping and picture taking. We hold these consents in the CLC. Tutors are expressly prohibited from taking video and pictures of the tutees in either in-person or remote settings. Please ask a staff member if you wish to obtain video or pictures for any reason. Finally, both in-person and remote tutoring, you must first obtain an FBI BCI check and ensure a current file is kept in the advising office. Please contact the Education Student Services Center to process your FBI BCI check and get up-to-date information about expiration dates. You will not be able to engage in remote or in-person tutoring without a current FBI BCI check. As mentioned previously, you must ensure that you have a reliable internet connection, device, and quiet and secure location to conduct remote tutoring. In the event of disruption, we at the CLC do not provide tech support or troubleshooting, but will refer you to other resources at the university. In the absence of the necessary technology features, tutors will not earn field work hours. We appreciate your proactive attention to this important requirement. Likewise, for in-person tutoring sessions, the expectation is that all instructional materials will be prepared in advance of the session. Please prepare your tutoring session before arrival at the CLC. The center is usually very busy prior to tutoring sessions, so materials should be copied before you arrive. During your first session, you will need to orient your tutee to relevant policies and procedures. In-person tutoring experiences should include identifying the check-in and check-out location, restroom, water fountain, educational materials, and your assigned tutoring location. We know our building is beautiful, but please do not venture beyond these approved areas only. Additionally, be aware that due to safety restrictions, tutees are not permitted in the office supply room. For remote sessions, please first ensure that your physical space and your tutee's physical space are conducive to learning. Look for adequate lighting and low levels of background noise and distractions. In the event the tutee's environment presents distractions, first ask if it is possible for the tutee to move to a more desirable location. If not possible, do your best to work within the environment. Notify a CLC staff member if the problem persists. During the initial session, you will need to orient your tutee to the features of the video conferencing platform you will be using. This will likely include the share screen function, chat, whiteboard or drawing functions, and reactions or polling features. Make sure you fully understand each feature and how you intend to use it prior to your session. You may explore support options online or through our instructional support staff member in the CLC. A variety of video conferencing platforms exist, and familiarity with each varies. Some platforms require you to first download the client to your device instead of running from a browser. Make sure you do this prior to the first session, as it takes some time to set up. We most frequently use Zoom for our remote sessions. Once downloaded, launch the application by clicking the icon on your desktop or from within the program menu on your device. We ask that you conduct your tutoring session from a computer or laptop and do not use a tablet or phone. Some features are not available on tablet or phone and cause difficulties in the session. Further, please never participate while driving. If this is the first time you are using Zoom, you will need to complete information in the profile and preferences. Importantly, we ask that for tutoring purposes, you use the name you prefer your tutee to address you by, along with your program specialization. In parentheses, for example, if you wish to be addressed by title and last name, your name should read Mrs. McCall, along with your program area and specialization in parentheses. So, for example, Mrs. McCall, Special Ed, Math, Science. Some tutors may wish to be addressed with a title and first name. This is your preference. So, for example, it might read, Mr. Jason, Secondary, Social Studies. It is important to display your name as you wish the student to address you so it is clear to them and your instructor. Additionally, it is important to include your program and specialization in your name so that instructors can best match you to a tutee. To join a meeting, you should enter the meeting ID. This meeting ID is provided to you by your instructor or CLC staff member and is specific to the section you are registered for. Some meetings may include a password. If this is the case, it will be provided to you by your instructor or a CLC staff member. Meeting IDs and passwords remain the same for the duration of the semester. Use the same ID and password each time you enter the session. Once joined, ensure that you have camera on and audio is connected. If camera or audio is not connected properly, please leave the meeting, close the client or browser, and rejoin. You may do this immediately upon noticing an audio-visual issue and do not need to wait or ask assistance from the instructor. It is unlikely they will be able to troubleshoot your device and settings, so please work to correct audio-visual issues independently, even if it is necessary to leave meeting, adjust device settings, and rejoin. You may also join by emailed link. If you are joining by email or calendar link, please follow the prompts on the screen and ensure that your audio-visual capabilities are enabled. Zoom is functional with Chrome, Safari, Microsoft Edge, and Firefox. Please follow the prompts provided. In the event that you encounter difficulties, you may wish to try a different browser. Instructors and staff do not provide technical support, so please test Zoom's functions within your preferred applications and devices prior to the session. Again, we ask that you please do not join or participate by phone or tablet, or participate while driving. Once you log into the main tutoring room and complete the attendance check-in as described by your instructor, you and your tutee will see a prompt to join a breakout room. Be patient during check-in, as the instructor is facilitating multiple participants. Pay attention to your screen during this process. You will see a prompt to join a breakout room. If you miss the prompt, please click on the Breakout Room button or More button found at the bottom of the window. You will be able to join from there. Once in the breakout room, please ensure your camera and audio is enabled, as well as camera and audio of your tutee. If the tutee is late, the instructor will send them in once they arrive. There is no need to do anything, please wait patiently. If the tutee is more than 10 minutes late or absent, you will automatically be moved to the room of your class partner to assist with their session. In this case, please keep your camera and audio off until you are engaging with the tutee. Your class partner will direct which activities you may participate with. Your primary role is to observe and support the session. Once your tutee arrives, please be sure to do all of the following within your session. Greet the tutee and engage them in social-emotional check-in activities. Explicitly identify the session's instructional objective and behavioral goals. Outline the scheduled activities for the session. Conduct the activities at an appropriate instructional pace. Watch the time and plan to end the session punctually with time to celebrate learning and mark achievements. Finally, follow your instructor's guidelines for logging off. You and your tutee may need to sign out of the session directly from the breakout room or return to the main room before logging off. If your session is in person, you should sign out at the front desk and ensure the tutee is in the care of a parent or guardian or CLC staff member. Say goodbye and remind the student of the next session's day and time. How are you doing? This is a common greeting, but rarely is asked or answered in candid earnest. Educators should always teach from a place of connection. As such, we must first attend to the whole person by engaging the tutee with a check-in activity for their social-emotional learning. This can be done in a number of ways and need not take an extensive amount of time, though when called for, should be honored with as much time as needed. A social-emotional learning check-in for a younger tutee may look quite different from that of an older tutee. You might simply engage in small talk through sharing anecdotes about your week. You might choose a short story or drawings from which to discuss important themes of health and wellness. Sometimes the tutee may have a question or concern they would like to share. No matter how this moment develops, ensure that you are present and engaged. If you need support or ideas, feel free to reach out to your instructor or CLC staff. After you've greeted the tutee and established rapport and connection, you should begin the instructional part of your session by explicitly stating your instructional objective and behavioral goals for the session. What will you work on today? If many things will be worked on, prioritize the objectives and behavioral goals, and make sure they are attainable within the time frame of the session. These objectives and behaviors should be framed as I can or we can statements. That is, it is not helpful to tell the tutee what not to do. Instead, focus on framing the goals as what the tutee can do. For example, you might want to minimize disruptions by stating, "Today we can pay attention to taking turns when speaking. It's hard to work together when we can't hear or understand each other, so let's make sure to speak and listen in turn." This is a better way of framing the behavioral goal of just simply saying, "No talking." Likewise, your instructional objectives should be clear, observable, and measurable. For example, you might say something like, "Today we will read the story together 3 times with clear pronunciation and taking our time at punctuation marks." This is a good instructional objective because the verb read is clear and unambiguous. Also, we can be sure we completed the objective because we decided to do it 3 times. This objective is better than saying something vague like, "Hey, let's improve our understanding of the story today." When you tutor, remember that tutees may be uncertain or shy when attempting something new. Also, tutees make better progress when they have a clear model of what is expected. The I do, we do, you do method is helpful. The first part is I do. This means that you model the exact skill or activity the tutee will be doing. When the tutor models the skill first, the tutee can see the level of performance they are aiming for. In the we do part, the tutor and tutee work together with scaffolding and guidance. Feedback is important here. When the tutee does something correctly, praise their effort and be explicit about what was correct. So for example, when reading a story together, if the tutee pronounced a difficult word correctly, you might pause and say something like, "Wow, you pronounced the word onomatopoeia correctly. That's a tricky one, but you got it." Likewise, if the tutee tries something without success, be sure to praise their effort and then ensure that they can do or say it correctly. Most important to progress is that the tutee themselves says or does it correctly. It's really not enough to simply say, "Oh, hey, that word was onomatopoeia," because the tutee never gets the chance to correct what they missed. Instead, say something like, "Oh, watch out for this word. It's onomatopoeia. You try it. Read that word again." In this way, the tutee will read the word correctly and be more likely to get it right the next time around. After the we do part, you can finish with you do. This means the tutee will do the activity or skill without tutor correction or support. Encourage the tutee to try their best and refrain from making this a high-stakes or stressful experience. Positive behavior supports will help your tutoring session run smoothly and promote a friendly rapport. Positive behavior supports are proactive strategies that occur before, during, and after learning. Include the tutee in all choices about the behavioral goals for your sessions. When behavioral goals are set together, they're more likely to be meaningful to the tutee. State these behaviors as what the tutee should do, rather than what not to do. For example, say something like, "Do take your time checking each step of the math problem," rather than simply instructing them, "Hey, don't rush through your math problems." Additionally, incorporate other simple practices like visual schedules that allow the tutee to know what to expect next, scheduling short brain breaks into the sessions, and engaging the tutee in preferred activities following a difficult task. Be aware of your tutee's experience, stay connected, and adjust when needed. Check with your instructor about the schedule requirements for your experience. When possible, writing out the session schedule for the tutee and crossing off activities as you go may be a helpful way to structure your time together. Keep in mind a time frame you plan to spend on each activity. For both in-person and remote tutoring, it's important to give the tutee and yourself short breaks. Get up, take a walk, stretch, play a silly game, or tell jokes. Just make sure to always be responsive to the tutee's attention span. Everyone needs breaks. Younger tutees should have a few short breaks. As tutees get older, one break mid-session may be all that's needed. Also, remember that some activities will be more difficult or less preferred. It is important to follow these activities with easier, more preferred, or choice activities. In this way, tutees are less likely to become burned out during the session. Pacing of your session is another consideration. Move through your activities without going too fast or too slow. Go at a pace that is just right for your tutee. Some tutees can't or won't be able to verbalize their preferred instructional pacing, but their behavior will always let you know. If the tutee can't complete the activity, becomes frustrated, or seems very scattered or distracted, you might be going too fast. If the tutee gets up frequently or looks around, changes subjects, or becomes talkative about unrelated subjects, it's usually a sign the pacing is too slow. Always stay connected and responsive to the tutee. Even if they don't tell you what they need, they will always show you. Once your session is nearing the end, take some time to thank the tutee for their effort and participation. Without them, you also would not have the opportunity to refine your own teaching skills. It's important to always maintain a perspective of gratitude. Finish your sessions by identifying at least one accomplishment for the day. It may be the smile they gave or an improvement in a skill. Whatever it is, celebrate learning and each other. Professionalism is the hallmark of our CSU College of Education tutors, and we pride ourselves on the reputation of each CSU representative. A few things to keep in mind. Be present with your tutee at all times. Even when they may be distracted or not having their best day, you can be an example. Tutoring sessions are not a time to take phone calls, text, or check social media. Instead, stay positive and stay present, encouraging them to be their best at all times. Personal information should not be shared or exchanged between tutors and tutees. There are times in remote tutoring experiences that it is most expeditious to email, text, or share pictures of academic content. These exchanges should only take place between the tutee and the parent guardian and should only be related to instructional content. Please never share social media with either tutees or families. As a professional, you should maintain appropriate boundaries, and social media is outside the scope of professional interests. Never share or follow social media accounts of tutees or families. Your code of professional conduct is something that begins before you are officially a teacher. Conducting oneself in a manner that would be acceptable to professional contacts or future employers is something to take seriously. Be conscious of language, manner, and dress in all professional obligations. Finally, as a future teacher, you should be aware that you may see or hear things that will warrant reporting. If you're concerned with any health or safety issues, immediately contact your instructor and a CLC staff member. If you're unsure, err on the side of caution and let your instructor or a staff member know. Better safe than sorry. Also, be sure to complete your own FBI BCI check in the Educational Student Services Center. You will not be able to work with K-12 learners without an up-to-date check on file. The CLC is dedicated to a high standard of service. We aim to provide a mutually beneficial educational experience for tutors, tutees, and families. Each of our staff specializes in certain areas. The front desk staff member can answer questions about the center, materials, attendance, policies, programs, and schedules. Our instructional support staff member assists CSU faculty and students with preparation for the tutoring experience. This may involve setting up Zoom rooms, Blackboard assistance, material scans, or facilitating practice sessions to work out questions or concerns prior to meeting with the tutees. Our family liaison staff member takes care of communicating with families about the center's policies, schedule, attendance issues, and activities. Any tutee-specific concern should be reported to the family liaison staff member before approaching the tutee or parent or guardian. Finally, the Center Director can answer questions related to the Center's purpose, function, and mission. Concerns about the experience should be immediately reported to the Center Director. Thank you for your engaged partnership with the CLC. We look forward to a rewarding educational experience.